Hey, today I have a quick tip for you about how to restructure, recalibrate, and reconnect to your life and your goals and your thoughts and your feelings. So, I'm going to tell you something that I do um, 2 or 3 times a year, not on a schedule necessarily, but as I feel it, as I need it. And you can copy this. So I did it this weekend, and ultimately, ideally, this would be something that you do maybe more on a schedule, maybe more proactively, so that you're not needing to do it once you feel stale and uninspired and miserable. The idea would be to do this, like I said, more proactively in a way that you're staying on top of how you think and feel and want and desire and all these things. So what you do is you make a list of everything that's bothering you, a list of complaints. Like everybody can do that, right? You just sit down and you brain dump diarrhea all of the stuff that is annoying you, okay? And then what I do is I look at each complaint, each thing that's annoying me, each thing that I feel that I'm tolerating, each thing that I wish I could fix. And you can look at this even as like if you had a magic wand and you could just change something, what would you do overnight? And then then what I do is I rewrite each complaint, everything that's bothering me, each bullet point as something that can be a solution, something that can be an action step. So to give this a little more tangibility, a little bit more groundedness, here's an example. So like if my complaint was I don't feel strong, right? I don't feel like when I sit up that I have ab muscles. Then my solution and or action step would be to lift weights that engage my core, right? If my complaint is that I'm not making enough money or that I have too much debt, then I make a list of exactly what those debts are, how much they are, who they are to, and then ways that I can make more money in my business. And then I can go from there and kind of extra bullet point out things like taking business classes, learning skills about marketing and all these things, right? So then I have a list of goals, essentially. That's what I have now. I don't have a list of complaints. We all know what we don't want. But what happens is sometimes we just stay in that space of like, I know what I don't want, and we don't change it into what you do want. So now you have shifted each of these things into a goal, something that you do want. Because if you know what you don't want, then you can shift it into something that you do want. Anger and frustration is all pointing you towards your goals and desires and passions. So I have a list of goals and then I organize them into categories. And those are based, for me, I organize them into things that would need to be done based on time. So is it something that needs to be done daily? Like breathing more or like taking a walk every day or eating better food. Like is it something that's more of a habit that's daily? Is it something that I want to do once a week? It's something that I don't want to put off completely, but I can't do it every day. And then is it something that I just want to do monthly, like go on a date with a friend or check something off of my bucket list once a month or something like that? And then there's also a category of one and done. So this is something that it's not a recurring thing. So like the daily, weekly, monthly, and you can have other categories, right? You can get more specific. You can do every other day, you can do twice a week, you can do twice a month, like whatever works for you. But then I also have a category of one and done. So daily, weekly, monthly are recurring situations, and then of habits, habitual things, and then I have the one and done. So that's like go get this procedure done, or drop off this thing, or go to this doctor, like whatever. Like it's a thing that's like once you do it, it's done, and you don't have to do it anymore. And then I have a separate list of money-based goals of things that I want to purchase, things that I want to pay off, and what exactly those are, and who they are to, and how much they are for. So then, after I did that, what I did was I sat down with my new categorized list of goals and solutions, and I sat with Matt and I read out everything that I wrote. And I didn't just read out the bullet point list. I explained about why I had these things down on my paper. And I talked about like my reasoning for these things and why I'm feeling these things, aka the emotional motivation behind my complaints, really at the core of this list. Like if I'm talking about, why I'm wanting to do why I am frustrated with a specific aspect of my business, then I allow myself to speak more openly about the reason surrounding that, behind that, and try to be as free associating as possible, like you would in a coaching session or therapy. And I ask him to listen to me speak, and I just talk and talk and talk. And for me, audio processing is a very, very important thing for me. Sometimes I don't even really need feedback. I just need to speak at someone. But I do ask him in times like these to let me speak. And then while I'm speaking, to just make notes of any recurring themes that he heard and any glaring gaps in my logic. So that means like, is he noticing something that I'm not noticing? Is he noticing the fact that like all of my complaints in the areas around my body and my business and my relationships, like all actually have a theme that I might be overlooking because I'm too close to it? And glaring gaps in my logic, I mean, I'm a visionary and I'm very like up in the air. And a lot of the times, even when I'm just like planning a project, I will have to run it by him because he'll be like, okay, you understand that physics doesn't support that idea, right? So there's that. But then he also is a straight shooter with me and he's no bullshit. So sometimes I'll say like, this thing is really bothering me. And he's like, well, that maybe that's because you need to stop doing this, or people aren't going to respond to that, right? And he's deeply honest with me. So I appreciate all of those things. And he did all of those things. And his notes for me, I'm going to share them with you. I'm not going to tell you all of my complaints or all of my goals because I don't think that all of them are helpful and some of them are personal and it doesn't really matter. But I'm going to tell you what his notes for me overall were after I spoke for like 40 minutes. He said that I want to have more adventures and growth in all areas of my life. I want to make things look better and bigger at a bigger, larger scale for myself and the community. That I want to make a more tangible impact in the community that I can physically see, not just on screens in the computer and on the internet. That I desire to have a legacy, especially because I'm not having children, and the way that I will do that is through the community and something that will live on in an interactive way. That I need to find a different and more effective way to get adults to play in person. That I need to learn more business and marketing skills, and that I want to and need to market my business much bigger and better and deeper and more effectively so that I can have the bigger impact that I know that I can and want. And those are all really good. Like some of those I knew, and some of them I didn't know, and some of them I didn't realize that were like they were themes or whatever. And I'm really lucky that I have a partner who understands me so well. I'm really lucky that I only really need to do this process a couple times a year because I am relatively self-aware. But if you want to do this process, I recommend it. And if you need a coach to be your sounding board, like Matt was for me, like I don't really need to go to therapy anymore. And I can have Matt play that role for me a couple times a year when I need it. But really, but I'm saying if you need that, you can come work with me. You can go to uncustomary.org/coaching or just send me an email at mary@uncustomary.org. But the last step really here is to integrate it. So, now the things that you want to do daily, monthly, weekly, one at a time, one and done, the things you want to save for, and you also know the larger themes. But now you need to actually make a schedule where you start integrating your solutions onto the calendar and following through. And if you learn any insights that you like, if you gain any insights from your discussion with your coach or your sounding board, and they might negate or change your original list in like some slight way, then you can edit that list, right? So like, for example, when Matt and I had this conversation about finding a different and more effective way to get adults to play in person, that changed a couple things on my list. So that was a helpful insight. And also, you might only be able to start with your list of complaints, right? That might be where you're at right now. You might be like, I have no idea how you did all that. I have no idea how you went from making a list of complaints to turning them into solutions. I don't know how to organize those into categories. I definitely don't know how to find the themes, and I don't know how to schedule that. Those are all very specific skills, and some of us are more natural at it than others. Some of us need practice. All of these are skills to build. But if you have trouble with changing your complaints into solutions and actions, or any of these other steps, then again, a coach or a therapist can help with that. And I am definitely someone that is willing and happy to help you with that. So you can again work with me at uncustomary.org/coaching, and you can just send me an email and see if we can find a package that works for you, even if it's just a one-off session. So I'm really wishing you luck with your recalibration and restructuring and reconnecting to yourself. My birthday is coming up, and I think whenever we have a birthday, there's a desire to kind of reconnect with your, for me anyway, mortality and the time ticking, so to speak, on the clock, and what it is that we're really here to do. So that's what I'm doing. I'm happy to be alive, and I want to contribute as much as I can while I'm here. And yeah, I'm having a party on Saturday and really hoping to make that very fun for me and the people that come to celebrate with me. And if you want to send me a card, you can. I have a P.O. box. Yeah, I think that's it. So, and also the Merriment Makers membership is 88% off right now for the VIP monthly. Like it's insane. It's actually less expensive than the Feel Good Troop right now. Like it's really, 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 really cheap. So if you, I'm doing that because I have a cat now. Well, I have already had 2 cats, but I have a new cat, and he was having a lot of medical problems. We got him off the street, and he was really, really sick. And his medical bills were like, just the first month were well more than my rent. And I thought that instead of doing like some sort of sad, not sad, but asking for money in support for this cat, I thought it would be a nicer trade to provide you with over 1,000 resources that are positive, good news, self-love, embodying joy, creating joy, spreading joy for, $39, and then you can even cancel if you want, and that would be a nicer exchange of money, energy, and resources. So if you do want to help support Luca's veterinarian bills, and he is doing a lot better already, and I'm really, really grateful to everybody who has contributed. You can Venmo or PayPal me. Those are also on my website. And actually, a lot of people chose to do that, which I think is so interesting, because I would rather have something in exchange for my money. But I guess when you have a sick cat, people are just like, please help this sick cat. So that's really, really kind. Merriment Makers are the best. Okay, yeah, I think that's it. So I hope this is helpful. Let me know if this process works. And if you feel like leaving me a review, 5 stars on Spotify or Apple or wherever you're listening, then that would be wonderful. That would make me really happy. Okay, I love you. Remember, you have to feel good to do good, and I'll talk to you next time.